everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do a book review for Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is a gothic suspense novel that was published in 1938, and I have just heard all sorts of chatter about it all over BookTube last year and this year. I've read it before, but it had been so long I didn't really remember that much, and I really enjoyed my reread. So this follows an unnamed protagonist who is a companion to this lady in Monte Carlo, and while there she meets the dashing Maxim de Winter. They have a whirlwind romance, get married, honeymoon in Italy, and then go back to England to his estate Manderley, which is a gothic manor type setting. Once she gets there, she starts to hear all sorts of things about Mr. de Winter's previous wife, Rebecca. We know that she has somehow died, and everybody talks about her so much. So she's essentially being haunted by the memory of this woman she has never met, but she somehow has to live up to. I thought the writing in this book was exquisite. Du Maurier has a very descriptive writing style without feeling info dumpy. I really felt like I could visualize Manderley and its occupants, the grounds, the beach where they have a little beach house cottage, and there's a scene, or there's a section with a ball, and I could just envision all these people in their finery and these elaborate gowns and costumes. So it was wonderfully written, very atmospheric and creepy. The whole time you're kind of wondering, well, who is this Rebecca? Why is she so special? Like, enough. And our protagonist is very meek and inexperienced and naive, so she doesn't really stand up for herself. She just accepts what's thrown at her. And so she is kind of childlike in a sense, which got on my nerves a bit. Max, or Mr. de Winter, can be kind of a bear. He's not really abusive, but it's really towing that line at some parts. Just at first you're like, oh, he's so dashing, and oh, this is such a lovely romance, and then they get back to Manderley and you're like, wow, Max can be a giant butt. And I wanted to strangle him through most of this book. And then we get to the twist, and you kind of start to understand why he acts the way he does, and we learn more about what happened. It's such a good twist. I didn't remember enough of the book to remember what the twist was, so when it got there, it was like, oh my god, what? And from there, it just flew by until we reached a resolution. And then after the resolution, there's still more story, which didn't bother me. I know it bothered some people. But even, I think, if you think you know how that second resolution is going to end, I don't know if you'll quite get it exactly, if that makes sense. But it does end quite abruptly, which didn't bother me. I felt satisfied with the story we got and the culmination of all the conflict and the suspense. I just thought it was a very well-crafted, fleshed out story. The main drawback for me, which is why I gave it 4 stars, is the pacing in the first half of the novel, because At the beginning, we have this whirlwind romance. They get together, we go to Manderley, we learn about Manderley. It kind of slows down with little peaks and valleys as we learn, and then Mrs. Danvers, who I absolutely hate, does this horrific thing, and it just sucked me back in again. Gets a little slow, and then the conflict happens. So the first half of the book feels a little different than the second half. Not necessarily in a bad way, I just thought the pacing was slower than it needed to be, because the rest of the book is a lot more fast-paced and it has a lot more action. But at the same time, I think from a more analytical point of view, the pacing really fits the main character's feeling of just being trapped. It's just such a rich book, and I can't praise it enough. And I think even if you have doubts, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I've heard it be compared to Downton Abbey, so if you like that, you'll probably like this. I loved it. I think it's got a good amount of suspense, a good amount of the gothic elements, well-crafted story, really fleshed out characters and details, and honestly, it was a pretty fast read. I binged this in a couple days. It's about 425 pages, but it doesn't feel that long. So I highly recommend this. Please go check it out. Especially if you are newer to classics and you kind of want to dip your toe in the waters. I think this is a really good introductory classic because even though it was written in 1938, it feels very modern. The language isn't overly flowery. It's not drawn out like more of the classics that were serialized. And I think it will be really easy for you to just jump right in. It's very accessible. So have you read this book? If so, let me know. Or do you think you might want to read it? Or if you just want to let me know you're here, but you don't have anything to add, drop a flower emoji down below. As always, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you like. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.